Hi everyone, welcome to today's technical AIS presentation. My name's Hannah and I work in marketing here at Digital Yacht, and I'm joined here with Nicola,
Hiya.
head of sales at Digital Yacht. And today we're just going to take you through our AIS transponder range, and there'll be a little bit of a live Q&A session at the end.
That's correct. And also throughout these presentations, I'm going to go through all the features of all our IS transponder, as well as all the technical questions we always receive via phone or email. And so today we're going to start with all our range of IS transponder. And to start with, let's go first with the AIT 1500 or AIT 1500 N2K. So this IS transponder is our entry range IS transponder. What's the difference with this IS compared to any of our other IS transponder is the fact that this AIS has its own GPS antenna. So if you have a fiberglass boat or any boat up to 10 meters of a rib or whatsoever, this is a perfect IS transponder. Then all you need will be a VHF antenna, whether you use a VHF splitter to use a VHF radio antenna, or you want to use a dedicated VHF antenna. With the AIT 1500, it's a very easy product to install because of the built-in GPS antenna. Also, other difference, it comes with either NMEA 0183 or NMEA 2000. So the NMEA 2000 versions is the AIT 1500 N2K. It comes with a built-in NMEA 2000 cable. With the built-in NMEA 2000 cables, the unit will directly take its power to the NMEA 2000. So if you got the AIT 1500 N2K, it's a plug-and-play IS transponder to connect to a small boat with NMEA 2000. Next step is our AIT 2000. Our AIT 2000 is one of our most popular IS transponder. It comes with both NMEA 183 and NMEA 2000. So if you don't know what MFD chartplotter you have on board, whether it uses NMEA 2000 or NMEA 183, that's the right product to have. But also if you want to send the GPS data to your VHF radio, you can do this with the AIT 2000. You can simply connect the NMEA 183 output to your VHF radio, and your VHF radio will receive the GPS positions. Unlike the AIT 1500, the AIT 2000 come with an external GPS antenna. So small motion like this, you can take up the feet and mount it flat anywhere. Obviously, it's best to install it outside. I know some of you are installing our GPS antenna inside, which is fine for a fiberglass boat. But if you have a bad GPS reception, best to install it outside. And then the AIT 2000 is also available as the AIT 2500, which is a SOTMA 5-watt AIS transponder. So what is 5-watt SO-TDMA AIS transponder? The new class, also called Class B+. So Class B+, unlike a Class B, like the AIT 2000, it will transmit more often your positions. So Class B AIS transponder will transmit your positions every 30 seconds, compared to a Class B+, it will transmit your positions up to 3 seconds. So based on your boat speed, a Class B+, also called IS SOTDMA or AIS 5-watt, it will transmit your position up to 3 seconds. For a sailing boat, if you don't sail up to above 6 knots, you will only transmit at 30 seconds. So for a small sailing boat, there's no point having a Class B+, because it will transmit the same as a Class B. However, if you have a speedboat or a big catamaran, it's always good to have a Class B plus or Class B 5-watt on board, because that will transmit your positions more often. Also, a Class B plus uses the same transmission system as the Class A, meaning that in some area in the world where it's crowded, there's too many boats transmitting their positions, sometimes a basic Class B cannot transmit your positions. So with the Class B plus, you will always transmit your positions no matter where you are. And lastly, with the Class B plus, you can also be better picked up by those satellite, by marine traffic. So if you have any paid subscriptions to marine traffic or vessel finder, with the paid subscriptions on those websites, you will be picked up by the satellite, and then you can appear anywhere in the middle of the oceans with marine traffic. So that's our AIT 2000, or also AIT 2500 with Class B+. Next up is Nomad 2, very popular product as well and a unique product. So what is Nomad 2? Is a portable AIS transponder. So we used to have the Nomad, but now it's called Nomad 2, and it still works the same as Nomad. The only difference is it comes with a built-in combo GPS and VHF antenna. So the goal of the Nomad 2 is to be a portable product. So if you do any rental, charter, whatsoever, or if you're a delivery skipper, you can take the Nomad in your suitcase. When you come into the boat, you quickly use the USB to give it power. So anything with USB, battery pack, laptop, cigarette plug, whatever, with the USB that will give the power to the Nomad tube. And then you just connect the combo VHF and GPS antenna, and the Nomad tube will start transmitting and receiving AIS targets. And thanks to its Wi-Fi interface, you will send all the data through the USB and Wi-Fi interface toward any navigation apps and software like TimeZero, Navionics, Sailgrid, etc. And for the web interface, it's simply configured via the web interface. We're going to come back to this point later on. So if you're a delivery skipper, if you do any rental, also if you have a very small boat and you want a really simple AIS transponder, then the Nomad 2 is the right product for you. Thanks to its USB interface to give its power and its combo VHF and GPS antenna, it's a very simple AIS transponder to install and to use. Next one is our AIS TX. So why this product? Very simple. If you only use a tablet for navigation and use apps like Navionics, TZiBot, Weather40, Sailgrid, whatever, and you simply want to receive AIS target and the GPS positions on your navigation app, then the AIS TX is the right product. So it works. It comes with an external GPS antenna. You will then need either a VHF splitter or a dedicated VHF antenna. Then this unit here connects the 12.4 volts to your battery. It will create a local Wi-Fi network on board. You connect all your up to 7 devices onto the Wi-Fi, and then you can turn on any apps like, as I said, TZiBot, Navionics, whatever, and automatically all the AIS target will be displayed onto your app. We also have the Plus version, and the Plus versions come with a built-in NMEA 2000. So not only you will receive the AIS targets on your navigation app and software, but also you will send out all the AIS targets onto your NMEA 2000 MFDs. Whether it's a Garmin, Raymarine, Furino, whatever, you will get all your AIS targets onto your NMEA 2000 MFDs. So that's called the AIS TX. So if you want an entry range AIS transponder with built-in Wi-Fi, then that's the product to look out for. Finally, to complete the range of Class B and Class B Plus, our premium product is the AIT 5000. So that's our premium product. So it has many features. And first one, and very important one, it has a built-in zero-loss VHF splitter. That's one of the only AIS transponder in the market with a zero loss, so which is very important to note, the zero loss VHF splitter. So what you will do, you just disconnect your VHF antenna from your VHF radio, ICOM, standard Horizon, whatever, and then you will use one VHF antenna for both your VHF radio and the AIS transponder. It also has an FM output, so if you have any fusions on board, you can use one VHF antenna for your VHF radio, for the AIS, and your FM radio. Then finally, it also got all the interface, such as NMEA 183 for the old standard, NMEA 2000 to send all the data to NMEA 2000, but as well the Wi-Fi. So with the Wi-Fi, as I explained before, it will send all the data to up to 7 tablets in the same time to use any apps like Navionics, Garmin, whatever, TZiBot, TimeZero, etc. So that's the AIT 5000, which is a most complete AIS transponder in the market. So finally, we're gonna also quickly talk about Class A. So Class A is not for the leisure market, it's for the commercial market. So if you're looking for a Class A AIS transponder, whether you got inland riverboat or you have fishing vessels or ships or 300 tons, and then we also have a CLA 2000, which is AMO Class A AIS transponder. So now that we went through the range of our AIS transponder, let me quickly explain you how to configure our AIS transponder. So for any of our AIS transponder without Wi-Fi, such as AIT 1500 or AIT 2000, all you need to have is to use our PC and Mac software called Pro IS2. What you will do, you will connect the USB of our AIS transponder to your laptop, open the software, and through the software, you can configure all the data such as MMSI number, boat name, VHF call sign, dimension of your boat, etc. However, it's very important to note that for US and Canadian customer, you cannot configure yourself your AIS transponder. This must be done by either Digital Yacht or your resellers or installers. So if you purchase your AIS transponder in US or Canada, please make sure to contact us or to contact your local installers or resellers. So through ProIS2, when you do the installations for your AIT 1500 or AIT 2000, through the diagnostic and GNSS status tab, you can also access a lot of information such as whether the GPS position is correct, if the AIS or VHF antenna has a good reception, if the unit is transmitting correctly. So in the screenshot here, you can see that the AIS transponder have received, since we opened ProIS2, 578 Class A AIS target. We have also transmitted 3 times of positions. Here, what is important to note is the VSWR, which is to basically analyze how good your VHF antenna is without the. So as you can see, you got a 1.1 ratios, which is very good. And the voltage is correct. So if you think your AIS transponder is not transmitting or receiving correctly, you should look at this diagnostic tab. And if you're unsure about what to look, please take a screenshot or pictures and send it via email to Digital Yacht, and you can quickly look and see if you have any issues with our product or not. So ProIS2, as I say, is the only use for AIT 1500 and AIT 2000. However, if you got an AIS transponder with Wi-Fi, such as ESTX, AIT 5000 or Nomad, you can simply use the built-in web interface. So what is a web interface? It's like an app, basically. So all you need to do is you firstly connect yourself to the local Wi-Fi created by the unit. So you don't need internet. Then you open a web browser, Safari, Google Chrome, Mozilla, whatever. And in the URL search bar, you simply enter the following address, http://192.168.1111, and you will access the web interface of any of our unit with Wi-Fi. So through the web interface, you can do a lot of things, such as you can connect the local Wi-Fi to an existing Wi-Fi network, which is quite useful. If you got a 4G, 5G router on board, Starlink, whatever, you don't want to have many Wi-Fi router on board. So through the web interface, you can merge the Wi-Fi of an AIS transponder to your local existing Wi-Fi network. But also, very importantly, you can configure all the details of your boat, such as I say, vessel's name, type of boat, MMSI dimensions, etc. But also, put a little button here next to the silent LED. If you click on here, you can also stop your AIS transmissions. So if you're in some place in the world where you don't want people to know where you are, you push that button and you can simply stop the AIS transmissions. It's quite handy because through the web interface, you don't need to run the physical buttons to stop the AIS transmissions. You can simply turn off the AIS transmissions through your phone, tablet, or PC by connecting yourself to the built-in web interface. So same as ProIS2, all our web interface also got a diagnostic tab where you can see whether all the data are correct, such as GPS receptions, AIS transmissions, etc. And as I say, if you're unsure about whether your product is receiving well or transmitting well, access web interface, look at that tab, and you can see if all correct. So this is basically what it looks like for the web interface. When you have access to the web interface through either the name of the product on the URL search bar or by typing 192.168.1.1, you will access the status, view data, and settings. So through the settings, you can merge the Wi-Fi network to an existing Wi-Fi network, or you can also rename let's say the ESTX Wi-Fi network to your name of your boat, etc. View data, when I come back to that data, and status to where you configure all your MSI, boat name, except boat name, but also where you can see if everything is being transmitted correctly. So it's what it looks like here for the network setting. So as you can see, you can change the SSID of your, which is basically the Wi-Fi name created by the AIS, or you can merge to an existing Wi-Fi. And at the bottom here, it's what it looks like to when you configure your details like boat name, VHF call sign, vessel type, etc. So once again, if you're a US Canadian customer, you cannot configure yourself these parts here. Then through the status, you can access everything. TX means the unit since you opened the web interface already transmitted 5 times your positions. VSWR, which is linked to your VHF antenna. So a perfect ratio is around 1. And if it's above 3, it means you got an issues with either your VHF antenna or the cable or its connector. And then at the bottom, you can see if the GPS position is well received. So if you have one of our units with an external GPS antenna and you mount it below deck, and if you see that this is not all green and you got an issue with the GPS position, then it means you must install the GPS antenna outside. So basically, through that web interface, which you can access via any web browser, via any tablet, PCs, or smartphone, you can simply configure your AIS transponder, but also remotely access all the details of your AIS transponder, making sure it's working correctly. And finally, through that network setting, you can quickly click on stations. And when you click on station, that will analyze all the available Wi-Fi network in your boat. You click on any of the Wi-Fi network, put the password, and then the Wi-Fi network of the AIS transponder is going to disappear because it will be merged to other Wi-Fi network. So also, if you have any technical issues with the AIS transponder, the best things to do is to send us a screenshot of pictures of the status tab where you can see all the green and red tick, and us would simply see what the issues with the product. However, if you've got quite a few technical issues with your AIS transponder, if you click on view data, you will get all those string of data scrolling down very quickly. And all of this is some typical NMEA 183 data. So if you click on start log, then you pause, you can then save a log. And if you send us a log via email, we can quickly analyze what the issues, if you're transmitting correctly all the data or not. So full web interface, as I say, is a very easy way to configure all our AIS transponder with Wi-Fi, but also to remotely access all the configuration and making sure everything is working correctly. So very briefly, if you use any of our AIS with Wi-Fi, as I say, all our Wi-Fi comes with a password, so check out our manual password is very easy. But then you will need to configure your app, whether you use Boating Navionics, TZI Bot, Weather for the whatever, you will need to configure those navigation apps. So we have published a very good database on the website, which you can access either for digitalyacht.net, or if you go on any of our Digital Yacht websites, under the support sections, we have listed, and if you click on configure apps and software, and that will redirect you to a page which has a database of all the popular navigation apps and software, and will explain you how to configure, for instance, in these screenshots here, how to configure Navionics to display AIS targets. It's quite simple, and if you are connected to the Wi-Fi network of a unit and you configure your app or software, you will then receive all the AIS target and any other NME183 data to your navigation apps and software. So now we're finished with everything about installations and configuration of AIS transponder. So we have prepared some questions, and after with Anna, we're gonna do some live Q&A questions. But obviously, we always receive that questions. Is it better to use a dedicated AIS antenna or a VHF splitter? So obviously, that's a very important question, and there's no pros and cons for both. It depends on you. Having a VHF splitter, a very good thing is you will be using the VHF antenna on top of the mast for sailboat. And by using the VHF antenna on top of the mast, you will get the best range. If you don't use a VHF splitter, it means you need to install a second VHF antenna. And as the second question explained, how much distance should be maintained between two VHF antennas? So horizontally, it should be 2 meters, but vertically, it should be 1 meter, meaning that you can't install two VHF antenna on top of the mast. So if your plan is to have the best range for AIS transponder, then, and you got a sailboat, you should be using a VHF splitter. However, it's very costly to have a VHF splitter. You can find on the market some cheap VHF splitter, but those are not active or, as we say in this industry, zero loss VHF splitter. They are very good to use for AIS receiver, but not at all for an AIS transponder. So if you want to, so a good a good VHF splitter for an AIS transponder is around $300, 300 euros. And compared to VHF antenna, you can get a good VHF antenna for 80 bucks or 80 euros. So it depends on your budget, what you want to get in terms of range. But obviously, if you want the best range, the top things is to use a VHF antenna on top of the mast. And some people will say, yes, but when you transmit your positions, it means your VHF radio is not receiving. That's correct. But bear in mind, when you transmit your positions with the AIS transponder, it takes only 300 milliseconds. So on your VHF radio, you would not even realize that you are transmitting your position. So that will not cause any issues with your VHF radio to transmit your positions with a VHF splitter. So this, but also another advantage to use a dedicated VHF antenna, not only the price, but also it can be used as a backup VHF antenna. As we all know, many of us like redundancy. And if you want a backup VHF antenna, then it's very good to use a dedicated VHF antenna for your AIS transponder. And if you have any issues with your mast or your VHF antenna on top of your mast is broken, you can quickly disconnect the VHF antenna from your AIS transponder and connect it to your VHF radio. However, as I said before, you will have not as good range by using a VHF antenna, a dedicated VHF antenna, than using a VHF splitter. So to conclude, for either AIS antenna or splitter, it depends on your budget, range you're looking for, and other features like backup or whatsoever. So it's not a yes or no answer. How to check whether the AIS is transmitting. Many of you contact us with, oh, sometime I want to look whether I'm receiving well. The best things to do to start with is to check with a local AIS receiver transponder. If you got a friend or a buddy next to you with an AIS receiver transponder, just ask him if he can see you. Bear in mind one thing, for AIS transponder, if you're not boating, if your boat is not moving, you will only transmit your position every 5 minutes. So make sure to wait more than 5 minutes and then ask your friends if he's receiving you or not. Then secondly, it's to check on marine traffic or vessel finder. However, it's not the most reliable things to do. I'm going to come back to that later on. And then the other big option is to use either ProAIS2 for the AT1500, AT2000, or EISTX or AT5000 with a built-in web interface. With the web interface or with the ProAIS2, if you go to the diagnostic tab, you can see whether you're transmitting on a, in that screenshot here, you can see the unit has transmitted 3 times to Class B. It has received 122 Class B target. So with that diagnostic tab or the built-in web interface, you can easily see whether you're transmitting or not. If you're unsure, as I said before, take a screenshot or pictures and send it across to us, and we can quickly check whether your unit has an issue or not. So first things, as I say, ask your friend if he's receiving you. Secondly, look at ProAIS2 or EST or the built-in web interface. And finally, check marine traffic or the sail finder, even though those websites are not trustworthy. So what should I have checked if the AIS is not transmitting? So there are a few things to check. First off, an AIS transponder is not going to transmit if it doesn't have a good GPS positions. So if you have an external GPS or built-in GPS, you need to look first, move around your GPS antenna. If you mount it below deck, please put it outside, and I'm sure you will get a better result. As you can see on that screenshot here on the left, if the unit is not receiving, then it will stop transmitting. So you need to make sure to use the supplied GPS antenna. And once you use the supplied GPS antenna, it has a very good GPS reception, then the unit will start transmitting. The second thing to look is the VHF antenna. And the best way to look at your VHF antenna is to check the VSWR ratio, which is here, VSWR. So if it's above 3, you should check the VHF antenna, or the connectors, or its cable. A perfect ratio is around 1. And you can look online on digitalyacht.net, check out VSWR. We wrote a very good article about what means VSWR. We explain all the factors that impact the VSWR. So anyway, if your ratio is above 3, check all those things about your VHF antenna, or make a test with another VHF antenna, and I'm sure the unit will be transmitting. Finally, another simple things to look, obviously, is make sure the data have been correctly configured, MMSI, bot name, VHF call sign, etc. So another thing we're going to quickly discuss is about marine traffic. So many of you have contacted us about marine traffic or vessel finders, IS Live, etc. about why I can't see myself on those websites. So marine traffic or any other IS traffic website, as I say, vessel finders, are fantastic websites to look at Class A cargoes, fishing vessels, etc. However, for Class B, for leisure boating, it is not as trustworthy as you think. So how does that work for those websites? Those websites, if you are a Class B target, so a leisure boating, sailing boat whatsoever, if you're not paying marine traffic, it will be based on their IS stations. So we put some screenshots here, which shows, like now in south of France, I think, no, it's actually in England, sorry. We show in England, near Exeter, we can see exactly the IS stations there. And as you can see here, you got a big empty space without IS base station. So what is an IS base station? It's like an IS net you can see here. So we install those in Marina, for the Coast Guard, etc. And then they connect this to an internet feed, and they connect themselves to marine traffic. And that is then those marinas or Coast Guard, etc., will feed all the data to marine traffic. However, sometimes they can have an issues with our base stations or internet issues or power shortage, whatsoever, meaning that the IS stations will be off. And on marine traffic, those little triangles, you go to filters, you can turn on stations, then those stations will come up, and you can even click on each stations. If they are red, it means they are off. If they are orange, it means they have some issues with the range. If they are green, it means they are working correctly. And by clicking on one of the stations, you can see the range. So when we click on that station just here in orange, the range was around 5 nautical miles, meaning that if you're not within those 5 nautical miles that stations will not receiving your positions, and then you will not be updated on marine traffic. So also, if you are on new IS target, your MMSI and etc. was never added before marine traffic, it takes roughly 1 hour for an IS stations to take your data and to send the data to their servers, and then you will come up on marine traffic. So if you are not happy to not being displayed on marine traffic, the first things to look is to look at those stations next to you and to make sure whether you are within the range or not. And secondly, if you want to have an unlimited coverage on marine traffic, then you should be paying marine traffic. You can go to your account and you can be paying a paid subscription to marine traffic or vessel finders, and then you will have an unlimited coverage for your boat. So once again, marine traffic vessel finders are not available for Class B, Class B+, and look at your local stations, the range of the on and off, and you will be able to tell why you're being received or not. So that will be all for those questions about marine traffic. That's another quick slide about reception, about the stations. And as you can see here on marine traffic, the stations in Devon, you can see the timing was the station was up. So during those time here, that base station was not receiving any IS target, meaning that during those time, none of the Class B, Class A, Class B+ were being received by the base stations in Devon. So now with Anna, she's going to ask me any questions which hasn't been replied by those slides. And then at the end, you can ask us any live questions through the chat or by questions. But now let's ask Anna. She's going to ask me any questions.
Okay, so one of the questions I have for you, Nicola. So, what is the disadvantage of using an AIS Class B Class 5 watches?
A very good question, Anna. There's no disadvantage, to be honest. Some people are scared the fact that the 5 watts AIS transponder, but the main disadvantage of using a Class B plus 5 watt is the price. Since it's quite of a new technology, which was released on 2021 and 22, depending on the market, it's more expensive than the normal Class B. Then obviously, in terms of electric consumption, it consumes a bit more. An AIS transponder like our AIT 2500 will consume on 500 milliamps compared to AIT 2000 consume on 200 milliamps. So except pricing and electric consumption, there's no disadvantage of using a Class B plus. But obviously using a Class B plus means you will transmit more often and everywhere in the world.
Another quick question I have for you. Can you please explain how you can connect to the web interface if you don't have access to the internet?
To the internet. Very good question and very popular question. So when we say web interface or Wi-Fi from our ESTX, AIT 5000, Nomad 2, a lot of people are confused and think of internet. When we talk about the Wi-Fi, it has nothing to do with the internet. So don't try and access Facebook, Netflix, whatever with our Wi-Fi network created by AIS Transponder. Wi-Fi is a way of communicating data like Bluetooth or USB. So once you are connected to the Wi-Fi network created by our unit, it will then create a Wi-Fi network, and like your iPad or PC will say, watch out, there's no internet with this network. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. We'll still be connected to the Wi-Fi network, but your laptop, PCs, or tablet will tell you that there's no internet connectivity. But then that's fine. You open Google Chrome, Safari, Mozilla, whatever. You can even write Google, whatever. It will say no internet connection. Absolutely fine. You just go on the top of the URL search bar and you write the IP address of our unit or the name of the product, like estx.local, as it is explained on the product manual, and you will access in this web interface. So to quickly conclude, like basically with the web interface, whether you are in the middle of the ocean or near the coast, it is fine. You don't need internet. You will still access the web interface.
Another question I have for you. Can you use the GPS antenna that's already installed on your boat with AIS?
You could if it's a GPS antenna of a previous AIS transponder. An AIS transponder must have their own GPS antenna. That's the regulations. So they use what we call a passive GPS antenna, not an active GPS antenna. So, for instance, you can't use a GPS antenna for Raymarine, Garmin, Chartplotter, not at all. But you must use either the supply GPS antenna with AIS transponder, and as a reminder, all our AIS transponder come with our own GPS antenna. There's not an add-on. You don't need to purchase an extra GPS antenna. So always come with it. Or you connect it to an existing GPS antenna, which was used by a previous AIS transponder.
Another quick question. How do you reset models with like the Wi-Fi?
So this is a tricky question. Resetting MMSI is technically not possible by end user. It should be done by dealers or installers. And from dealers or installers, so if you purchase AIS from a local installers or resellers, please contact them and then they will contact us. Or if you purchase from us, please contact us. And so basically, if you're an installers or dealers, if you're certified digital yacht installers or certified digital yacht resellers, will then going to give you a code, and a code will be used for any of our ESTX, AIT 5000, or Nomad 2 is a unique code which we're going to give you for those AIS transponder. However, if you want to reset the MMSI number of our AIT 2000, AIT 1500, then we're going to give you one software which can be used for both of the models. However, as I say, if you got ESTX 85,000 on Nomad 2, for you, the reseller, we're going to give you a unique code for each product.
Okay. Well, I feel like we've come to the end of the Q&A session.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me via the chat here or to ask us any live questions. On our website, we got a lot of information about AIS. We cover all about BSW, about ATON, Class A, Class B plus, different between all the class, also about SRT, SART, anything you got in mind about AIS. I'm sure Digital Yacht have published an article or we got a page. You can also go on digital.co.uk, go to Discover AIS. We got tons of good information. And if you're still looking for some specific information about our AIS or any of the AIS, please contact us. We are quite well known for support and reactivity to reply to all your phone calls or emails. Please contact us, and I'm sure within the same day or within 1 hour, we can reply to your specific question about AIS. And if you don't know which AIS transponder you need, please tell us exactly your need. Do you want to receive only AIS on your tablet, on your chapter, or whatever? Or do you want VHF splitter, or you want to use a dedicated VHF antenna? Anyway, send us an email or give us a call with your exact needs, and we're going to tell you exactly which AIS transponder you need. And if you're an installers or resellers and you're looking for some more technical trainings, even though I think this training was quite technical already, please give us a call and we can definitely set it up. So anyway, it was all for today about AIS transponder in general. I hope this webinar was really helping you to choose the right AIS transponder, but to also reply to all your technical questions about AIS in general. We're going to do some more webinar in the near future. And in the meantime, I wish you all a very good day. Thanks for your time today.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.